Okay, so had several questions about how I do my brisket. A lot of people do it different ways. I try to do it sort of Texas style. And so I've got a brisket here. It's got the flat and the point. And I think it was about 13 pounds. I don't remember now, but it's got a pretty good sized brisket. So what the first thing you need to do is, after I've taken it out of the pack, rinse it off and patted it dry, and it's still kind of wet, but I'm going to trim some fat off of it first. So you only want about 1/4 inch fat at any one place to be on here. Some people think you should leave it all on, but that's a mistake, because some of this real hard fat will not even break down, and it's going to make your brisket tough. So I'm going to trim it off first. I have a real thin fillet knife to help me do it, and try not to waste too much of the meat. So all I do is get it going here. Gonna always get close to the meat. So that's the finished product. That's how much fat came off of the brisket, and there it is, all trimmed out. Now I'm going to season it. So now it's time to season the brisket. Purist will tell you that you should only put salt and pepper on it, and that's the way they do it in Texas, and that's true for the most part. And then you let the flavor of the beef really shine through. But then one time I had a coffee brisket, or brisket that had a coffee rub on it, and I loved it. So I tried to copy it a couple times. Made it myself, and the coffee was too strong. But then one day I saw this at Walmart. It is Java Chop House rub, nothing fancy, and it's salt, garlic, coffee, and onion. That's it. So it's very, very simple. Just got a little bit of coffee flavor, and that's what I'm going to put on my brisket today. And you don't want to overdo this. You just need a light coating on both sides, in my opinion. And that's the way I do it. And of course you want to get the edges too. So I'm doing the bottom first, because this is going to be face down the whole time I'm cooking. And I will flip it over here in just a minute. Nothing major. Let's get the edges. And the ends. And I don't rub it at all. A lot of people say you're supposed to rub it. In fact, they'll call this a dry rub. In my experience, there's no need to do that. I want it to build a nice crust, a nice bark, and I find when I rub it, it kind of hinders that for some reason, so I don't do it. And if you ever watch any of those barbecue experts, a lot of them also feel like you should never rub it. You just pat it if you do anything. So I'm not going to worry about touching this thing after I touch the meat, because I'm going to finish it off today. If I was really going to save this for later, I would never touch it with my hands after I have touched the meat. You see people do that all the time on Instagram. It drives them crazy. They just handle their salt and pepper shaker with bloody meat hands. Good way to make your guests sick. The same salt and pepper shaker will be on the table later in some cases. And I get my brisket from Costco. You can get some from other regular grocery stores. I think Costco has a better quality of meat, and that's where I get them. And that's it. So I'm gonna go rest for a couple minutes while my coals get finished up, and then I'm gonna put it on the grill. All right, charcoal is coming along nicely. So the way that I'm gonna do this is, some people call it the snake method. Got charcoal around the ring here, and I'm lighting this in the chimney starter, and I'll dump it out at the end of the ring, and it will burn consistently the whole time I'm cooking, and I won't need to add charcoal. And I will put one piece of oak on the beginning of it to get smoke for about an hour, and that's it. The rest of the time it's just going to be indirect heat from charcoal. What I also do is put a water pan underneath the brisket, and I don't just put water in it. Why not put something that will add some flavor? Some people will put water and beef broth, or some other liquid. I just like to put a couple of cheap beers, whatever kind of beer you have around, and what I happen to have are a couple of Coronas. So I'm going to go open those Coronas and get them ready. So got my hashtag Coronas, just 2 cheap beers that I'm going to use in my water pan. They're not even cold, they're just room temperature. They've never been refrigerated. So opening those on my Yeti bottle opener attached to my Land Shark drawers. Very convenient. I'm gonna get some more stickers and stick on here. I think I'm gonna take all the stickers off the outside of my vehicle and just start putting them on the inside. Make it a little bit cleaner. Anyway, so now I'm getting ready to load up my water pan. Okay, so this is my setup. I've got my wood sitting on my charcoal, got my beer in the water pan, liquid pan, and then the rest of the charcoal will burn. I'm about to put the brisket on, and I'll give you a shot of that after I get it on. So this is the way I'm going to start it out. So none of the heat is going to be under the brisket. Later, when the heat is around here, I will slide the brisket over to this side so it will continue to get indirect heat. Fat side up, the thickest part, the point is up here, closest to the heat right now. And I'm looking to keep this about between 250 to 300 degrees at first, and then I'll lower it down. So that's what I'm working on right now. Okay, so the temperature currently, the way it reads right here on the Weber, is about 325. If you want to lower or raise the temperature, all you do is control the airflow to it. So if I close these vents about halfway, you'll watch the temperature decline shortly. Also, there's vents on the bottom, and you adjust those by moving this. We'll see what happens. I don't want the fire to snuff out, but I do want the temperature to be a little bit lower than that. I said 250 to 350 earlier, but really, I want to do this less than 300, probably 250 max. So once we get this going, we'll see how that has affected the temperature. It'll go down shortly. And just like I wanted, it's rocking down to less than 300 degrees. It'll go down some more, but closing the vents made the change. Okay, here is a status update on what's happening with the brisket. I have moved some of the coals closer to the ring that is left. You can see my water pan down there catching the drippings. Here it is. At this point, I think I have about 2 hours left to cook it. So I am going to wrap it in brown butcher paper and put it back on there. I already got my paper torn off and ready to go. Stand by. Okay, I got my brisket wrapped in the butcher paper. I've got an thermometer, a digital thermometer that goes down to this little bad boy here, set to go off whenever I hit 205. That's going to snuff out some when I close the lid. So should be on the downward slope here, getting my brisket ready. "20 more degrees and I'll be good to go." Okay, got the brisket out. It needs to rest for about 10 minutes, and then it will be ready to slice up.